Welcome to our Easter Sunday service. As I was preparing the sermon, I happened to read one comment about one of the prominent pastors in the United Methodist Church puts the Easter Sunday as a Super Bowl Sunday. So the Easter Sunday is like the Super Bowl Sunday, where you come with a great expectation and anticipation. I'm not a huge fan of football. However, I always watch Super Bowl. And one particular reason is the amazing and interesting commercials. And second, I come with the expectation and anticipation of a great game. The game between the two greatest teams. This last year, Super Bowl happened to be between Patriots and Seahawks. And my wife, Rose, is coming from Seattle, so I happened to cheer for a Seahawks. No offense, we have difference of opinions, but we have different tastes too. However, what a surprise, full of surprises, miracles, and disappointments. We can share this later after service. But Easter Sunday, we come with expectations and anticipation. Today, those three women, Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James, and Salome, comes with expectation. They're eager to find Jesus who laid in that tomb. And it was during the Passover season, so they don't have enough time to anoint Jesus properly. So they just put Jesus into the tomb. So those three women are buying those spices so that they can anoint Jesus. They expect to find him there, inside the tomb. As they're marching or they're running very early in the morning, I briefly share with my congregation, my Korean tradition, the church, we will usually have a 6 a.m. Service in the Easter morning. And can you imagine that? 6 a.m. in the morning, come to church and you do worship. Well, I grew up in that tradition, and coming here, we just had an 8:30 breakfast together. What a wonderful breakfast that was. I mean, I must say, I wish I could have that every Sunday before worship. Those three women come with great expectation and anticipation, finding Jesus inside. But guess what? They encounter a problem. As they're marching towards the tomb, they thought, who will roll this great stone? They're blocking us. Who will roll this stone for us? They're talking. They're worried. They're looking down. Who would do this for us? The passage talks right about it. It says when they looked up, the tomb was open. The tomb was already open, but they didn't actually see it. They were so downcasted. They were so worried that they didn't see the tomb was open. But it is when they looked up, they saw it was open. Sometimes we look down, or we look at, or maybe we look through. But when was the last time that you looked up? When I say looked up, I'm not talking about just literal technique here, but look up. Where does my help come from? Three women, though they were downcasted, they looked up and it was already open. They immediately jump into the tomb with the anticipation, I'll surely find Jesus there so that I can anoint him. But greater problem was there. He's not here. He is not here. This strange man with the white clothes, it's not me. Strange with the white clothes, an angel telling them, the Jesus of Nazareth that you're looking for is not here. Uh-oh. Those three women with the great expectation and anticipation to find Jesus inside the tomb is no longer here. Problem. A greater problem. Let's think about our lives then. Sometimes we come to church with great expectations and anticipation, finding maybe a solution or inspiration, or so that we might be able to hear the good news. We come to church with a great expectation. I wonder what this preacher will say. I wonder what choir will sing. And I wonder what this youth minister will say about children's message. We come with great anticipation. But sometimes those expectations and anticipations find that end. What would you do if your expectation and anticipation are crushed totally? You no longer find what you want. What happens then? Those three women, they expect to find Jesus inside the tomb, did not find him, but they weren't disappointed. They were actually terrified in amazement. They're amazed. They're perplexed, yet joyful, fascinated by what just happened. What they expect to find was no longer there. But because what they expected was no longer there, they were joyful and they're excited. And they tell this great news to others, especially among the disciples. We come here gathered together with a great expectation, especially Easter Sunday, right? The Easter, the resurrection of Christ, one of the hallmark of the Christians. And I believe that's why the early church flourished so much, because there were so many witnesses who encountered risen Christ. How many of us actually encounter risen Christ? No, yeah, I guess so. Who would? But we bring those expectations. Wish we could see risen Christ here in the midst of our presence. But the bigger problem is that he is not here. Maybe those expectations that we bring, anticipation that we might have, is no longer here. And that's a good thing. What? That's a good thing. He is not here because he is already here. He's already here in our hearts. Not here, but already in our hearts. Whether you enter through that door or not, Christ is always with us. And that is the God's promise for us today. Christ is with us and always has been, was and is and will be with us forever. Later today, our worship service, we'll share Holy Communion together. And this Holy Communion, it's for us together. The father of Methodism, John Wesley, thought this Holy Communion is for us, the means of grace, meaning it would help us in our walk with Christ. Imagine when we walk with Christ, maybe running a marathon, you'd be really tired without no food. And that is pretty obvious. These are the spiritual food for us. If you're hungry, if you're thirsty, come. Come eat with me. This is my body, this is my blood. Share. I want to share with you so that you will continue to walk with me. Later in our service, I will want us to join us in this Holy Communion together and to remember what Christ has done for us. Die for our sin, but he is not here. It's already here in our hearts. Let us pray.